Hi, I'm Chap Bettis, author of The Disciple Making Parent, and this is my audio blog, where I read some of my blog posts in audio format for your convenience. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be thinking about speaking with verbal authority. And I would encourage you, as a parent, to speak with verbal authority. You know, verbal authority. Some people have it, and some people need to develop it. My mother, at 5'7" and slight of build, taught high school English. She was a tough and effective teacher. Over the years, she's had many students tell her that she was their favorite high school teacher. But don't doubt that she was in control of her classroom. She had football players weighing twice as much as her completely under control. Her greatest challenge? One year, she had an afternoon class of 30 hormonal football players and flirty cheerleaders. She exerted her authority, and they learned English. Her example inspired me when I taught high school for a few years, and it should inspire you. A teacher, a pastor, and yes, a parent needs to understand and be comfortable exercising authority for the good of his or her sheep. How do you speak to young children with authority? Though I can't point to a verse, these suggestions come from some years of experience. You know, child training actually is parent training, and here's some ways that we can train ourselves. Let me give you 5 suggestions. Number 1, use your child's name to get his attention. Children are often busy and deeply engrossed in their play. Their names should and will cut through the clutter. So make sure you have your child's attention before you give a command. So, for example, Anthony? Yes, Mom? Would you go outside and get your sister? Yes, Mom. So number 1, use your child's name. Number 2, make sure they can hear you. It should go without saying that we speak in a way that they can hear us. If they're upstairs, don't yell from the kitchen. Walk to the bottom of the stairs. So number 2, make sure they can hear you. Number 3, if they're where they can see you, in most cases, they should also look at you. If they're where they can see you, then in most cases, they should look at you. This is just polite. But our attention also goes where we look. So if we give commands without them looking at us, it hasn't probably cut through the clutter of the day. So we want to get them to look at us. Number 4, train them to give you a verbal positive response. So I cover this extensively in the blog post, Parents Okay is Not Okay, but there'll probably be many conversations that go something like this. Anthony? Yes, Mom? We're going to leave in 5 minutes. It's time to get ready. Do you understand? Yes, Mom. Did you hear how they gave you back a positive response? Number 4. Number 5, don't use okay. Use understand. And I cover that extensively in the blog post by the same title. But don't say, clean up your room, okay? Instead say, Jason, I want you to put your toys away. Do you understand me? And the proper response is, yes, Mom. So number 5, don't use okay. Number 6, watch for obedience and notice disobedience. As parents, we give many instructions throughout the day. It can be tiring, exhausting. But we need to carefully observe what we're saying and what the response is. You know, God is not a threatening, repeating parent, and neither should we be. He says what he means, and he means what he says. And so should we. Authority is enforced by consequences. So number 6, watch for obedience and notice disobedience. So how do I train this verbal response habit? How do I train my children to give me eye attention and verbal attention? Simply refuse to go to the next step until they give you their attention. Repeat if necessary. Anthony and Lisa, let me have your attention. Pause. Look at me, please, and say, yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. That's better. Would you please, etc. Do you understand me? You see, as parents, we're constantly training. And at some point, we may decide that this has become an issue of disrespect and disobedience, and maybe we'll have to start having consequences for it. But in the beginning, it's train, and retrain. For further reading on why we discipline, you can read Chapter 7 of The Disciple Making Parent, Preparing Your Children for the Gospel. But the purpose of this episode has been to encourage us as parents to speak with verbal authority. Well, thank you for listening to the Disciple Making Parent audio blog. This material that we've just talked about is found in the workbook of our video course, Parenting with Confidence. It's our course on the biblical foundations of parenting, and it's specifically aimed at parents of young children. So you can find more information on our website or also at parentingwithconfidencestudy.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider telling someone else about the show and leaving us a rating or review. Both of those things that are small things help us a lot. Thanks for listening.